I spent $9,742 in 7 days trying to feel like a millionaire. It broke me. Okay, let me back up. My name doesn't matter for this story. What matters is the number, $40,000 a year. That's my salary. I work a regular office job in Columbus, Ohio. Nothing glamorous. I answer emails. I sit in meetings that could have been emails, and every 2 weeks a direct deposit of about $1,100 lands in my checking account. After taxes, after health insurance, after my 401k contribution, that's what I actually take home. For the last 2 years, I've been doing something I was actually proud of. I'd been saving for a house down payment. Every payday, $150 went straight into a separate savings account, and I didn't touch it. No matter what. I skipped vacations. I made coffee at home. I drove a 2015 Corolla with 140,000 miles on it, and I didn't complain because I had a goal. By this spring, that account had $12,340 in it. And then one night, at like 1 a.m., doom scrolling in bed, I watched one of those day in the life of a billionaire videos. You know the ones. Private jet, infinity pool, some guy ordering a $400 bottle of wine like it's a Gatorade. And I remember feeling this weird mix of things. Jealousy, sure, but also this creeping resentment. Like, why am I saving $150 every 2 weeks while this guy tips more than that for valet? So I did something kind of impulsive. I opened my savings account, stared at that $12,340 number, and I asked myself a question that I could not stop thinking about. What would it actually feel like to live like that? Not for a lifetime, just for 1 week. Would it actually make me happier? Or is it all just a performance? 2 days later, I pulled $10,000 out of my house fund, and I decided to find out. I want to be upfront with you before we go any further. This was not a smart financial decision. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm telling you what happened when I did, because what I learned by the end of that week changed how I think about money more than any budgeting spreadsheet ever has. Here's how the week went. Day by day, and stick around, because the moment that actually flipped a switch in my head didn't happen on the fancy nights. It happened on an ordinary Thursday, talking to a guy at a hotel bar who I almost didn't even talk to. I started simple. I booked the presidential suite at a 5-star hotel downtown. $800 a night, all in with taxes and fees. I rented a Tesla Model S for the week, $1,400, paid up front. And on the way to check in, I stopped at a boutique downtown and dropped $2,000 on an outfit and a watch, because I figured, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it all the way. Walking into that suite for the first time, I'm not going to lie to you, it felt incredible. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A bathtub bigger than my actual bedroom back home. A guy from the hotel staff called me sir, in this respectful tone I don't think I'd ever heard directed at me before. I remember standing at the window looking out over the city and thinking, is this just what life feels like when you have money? Every single day. I ordered room service that night. $68 for a steak and a glass of wine I could have bought a whole bottle of at the store for $12. I didn't care. I signed the check with this new watch on my wrist, and I felt, for the first time in a long time, like I had made it. First lesson worth pausing on here, and I didn't clock this until later. That feeling wasn't really about the steak, or the room, or the watch. It was about being seen differently. That's the part of wealth that gets marketed to us the hardest. Not the money itself, the way people treat you when they think you have it. Day 2, I leaned all the way in. I hired a private chef for the evening. $600 for a 5-course tasting menu cooked in my suite's kitchen. Before dinner, I went out to one of the nicest restaurants in the city for lunch and dropped another $200 without blinking. That night, I went to a club downtown and got a table with bottle service. $500 for a table and 1 bottle of vodka I didn't even finish. But here's the thing. Everyone around that table treated me like I belonged there. Girls I'd never met were suddenly very interested in my night. A guy I didn't know bought me a shot and called me boss. I went to bed that night thinking, I could get used to this. That sentence is going to matter a lot more later. Hold on to it. Wednesday, I did the whole wellness thing. 90-minute massage, a mani-pedi, a session with a personal trainer at the hotel's private gym, a $15 smoothie after. All in, about $450 for the day. And this is where something strange happened. The massage was great. Objectively, physically, it felt amazing. But I didn't feel the same rush I felt on day 1. I kept checking my phone, kind of waiting to feel that same, I've made it, high I'd felt walking into the suite 2 days before. It didn't come. The smoothie was just a smoothie. The massage therapist left the room and I was just lying there on a table, alone, in a robe, in a hotel. There's an actual term for this in psychology, and once you learn it, you start seeing it everywhere. Hedonic adaptation. It's our brain's tendency to return to a stable level of happiness no matter how good or bad our circumstances get. Lottery winners feel it. People who get big promotions feel it. And apparently, broke guys pretending to be millionaires for a week feel it too. The luxury doesn't stop working. Your brain just stops noticing it. This is genuinely one of the most important things I learned all week, and it happened on day 3 of 7. The high from spending doesn't scale with how much you spend. It just gets shorter and shorter, and you need a bigger hit to feel the same thing the next time. Which, by the way, is exactly why so many people who suddenly come into money, inheritance, a big bonus, a lottery ticket, end up broke again within a few years. It's not that they're bad with money. It's that nobody warned them the feeling fades, so they keep chasing it. Thursday, I rented a boat for the afternoon on the lake outside the city, $600 for 4 hours with a driver. I took a bunch of photos. I posted a few. The comments came in fast, living the dream, goals, stuff like that. And I remember sitting on that boat, sunglasses on, looking like I didn't have a single problem in the world, doing the math in my head. I'd spent almost $6,000 in 3.5 days. That's more than 5 months of my mortgage fund contributions. Gone. In 84 hours. I put my phone down and just watched the water for a while. This is the part of the week that actually mattered. Not the boat. Not the suite. This. Thursday night, I went down to the hotel bar by myself, still kind of shaken from doing that math on the boat. I ordered a $22 old-fashioned and sat down a few seats away from an older guy, probably mid-60s, in a flannel shirt and jeans that had definitely seen better days. He was drinking a domestic beer, the cheapest one on the menu, and reading an actual paperback book at a bar, which I thought was kind of funny. We got to talking. His name, for this video, let's call him Frank, because I want to respect his privacy. Frank asked what brought me to town. I gave him some vague answer about a work trip. Then I asked what he did. He said, real casual. I own a few car washes and a couple laundromats around the state. I asked how business was. He said, good. Real good, actually. Just sold one of the properties last year. Something made me ask. I don't even know why. Maybe the wine. Maybe the whole week catching up to me. Can I ask what you're worth? Like roughly. He laughed, not offended, just kind of amused, and said, little over 4 million, last time my accountant checked. I looked around. This man was drinking a $6 beer next to a guy, me, who'd spent $500 on bottle service 2 nights earlier. I asked him what kind of car he drove. 2011 Camry, he said. Runs fine. Why would I replace something that works? I asked about his house. Same one I bought in 1994. Paid it off 11 years ago. And then he said something that I have not stopped thinking about since. I asked him, almost joking, so what do you actually spend money on? He thought about it for a second and said, mostly I just don't spend it. I put it into the business, or the market, and I let it sit there and grow. That's basically the whole plan. Has been for 30 years. I sat there in a hotel room worth $800 a night, wearing a watch I'd bought 3 days earlier, and I realized something that hit me like a truck. I had spent the entire week trying to look like a millionaire. Frank had spent 30 years actually becoming one, and he looked, from the outside, like a guy who mows his own lawn. This is genuinely the core lesson of this whole video, so let me say it as clearly as I can. Looking rich and being rich are not just different, they're often opposites. The stuff that signals wealth, the car, the watch, the suite, the bottle service, that stuff is usually bought by people who are spinning their way toward broke. The people who are actually building wealth tend to be almost invisible. There's research on this too. It's the whole idea behind the well-known finding that most American millionaires drive ordinary cars, live in the same modest house for decades, and you'd never guess their net worth by looking at them. Frank was a walking, beer-drinking example of exactly that. I didn't sleep great that night. Friday, I didn't really do anything millionaire at all. I stayed in the suite most of the day. I opened up the Notes app on my phone, and I actually added up every single thing I'd spent that week so far. $8,950. In 6 days. I thought about my Corolla back home, still parked at the airport lot, racking up parking fees while I drove around in a car that cost more per week to rent than my actual car cost me per month, insurance included. I thought about the down payment fund. 2 years of $150 deposits, cut almost in half in less than a week. And I felt something I did not expect to feel, not excitement, not even guilt, exactly. Just this heavy, quiet embarrassment. Like I'd been putting on a costume, and Frank, without even trying, had shown me the difference between a costume and the real thing. Last day, I checked out of the suite, returned the Tesla, paid off a few last incidentals, parking, tips, a couple more meals. $9,742.18. That's what 1 week of looking rich cost me. To put that in perspective, I make about $769 a week before taxes at my actual job. I had just spent almost 13 times my weekly pay in 7 days. In take-home terms, that's close to 4 months of my actual paychecks, gone, in a week, on a feeling that started fading by Wednesday. Here's the part one really want you to sit with, because this is the actual financial lesson underneath the whole story, not just don't overspend, but what overspending really costs you when you zoom out. I'm 29 years old. If I had taken that same $9,742.18 and, instead of spending it on 1 week of pretending, I had simply invested it in a basic S&P 500 index fund and left it alone, using a conservative, historically reasonable average return of about 8% a year. Here's what that same exact money would look like down the road. In 10 years, around $21,032. In 20 years, around $45,407. In 30 years, right around my retirement age, around $98,032. In 40 years, over $211,644. Let that sink in for a second. That 1 week, the suite, the Tesla, the watch, the bottle service, all of it, didn't just cost me $9,742. If I'd let that money grow untouched instead, it could have quietly turned into over $200,000 by the time I actually retire. That's the real price tag, not the receipt. The version of that money that never got the chance to grow. That's what nobody shows you in those day in the life of a billionaire videos. They show you the spending. They never show you the 30 years of not spending that usually came before it. I want to give you the honest, unfiltered version of what changed in my head after this week, not the neat, inspirational version. 1. The feeling of luxury fades fast, and it fades faster the more of it you have access to. By day 3, I was already chasing the day 1 high and not finding it. That's not a personal failing. That's just how brains work. Knowing that in advance is genuinely useful because it means you can stop expecting the next purchase to be the one that finally satisfies you. It won't be. It never is. 2. The outward signs of wealth and the actual presence of wealth are usually inversely related. The most convincing rich person I saw all week was drinking a $6 beer in a flannel shirt. Meanwhile, I was the one in the $800 suite with 12 grand less than I started the year with. If you're trying to figure out whether someone actually has money, the car and the watch are almost never good evidence. If anything, spending that visibly, that consistently, is often a sign of the opposite. 3. Money spent doesn't just disappear from your bank account. It disappears from your future. That's the compound interest math I just walked you through. Every dollar you spend today isn't just a dollar. It's whatever that dollar could have grown into by the time you actually need it. 4. And this one's more personal. I don't think I actually wanted to be a millionaire that week. I think I wanted to feel important for a few days. Those are very different goals, and they call for very different decisions. Wanting to feel important is human. But chasing that feeling through spending is one of the most expensive ways to get a few days of satisfaction that fades by Wednesday. It's been about 2 months since that week. I'm not going to pretend I magically became a different person overnight, but a few things did actually change. I went back to my house fund and started rebuilding it. Same $150 every 2 weeks, plus a little extra now, because that week scared me straight in a way no budgeting app ever could. I'm about $3,000 back toward where I was. I still drive the Corolla. Honestly, getting back into it after a week in a Tesla, I expected to feel disappointed. I didn't. It got me to work fine, same as it always has. And every once in a while, when I catch myself scrolling one of those flashy lifestyle videos late at night, feeling that old pang of why don't I have that, I think about Frank. $6 beer, 2011 Camry for $1 million. And I remember that the people who actually have the money are usually the ones you'd never suspect. If this story hit you the way it hit me while I was living it, do me a favor and subscribe. I'm telling real, first-person money stories like this one every week, and trust me, this isn't even the most expensive mistake I've made on this channel. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have done this experiment? Or am I just an idiot with a Tesla rental receipt? Either way, I want to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.